Well, said the Mad Mock Turtle, hugging Plex. At least the time of life passes by when a lobster comes. Plex was confused. He didn't know lobsters come when time of life passes by. He let go of a Mad Mock Turtle's hands and he folded his arms. Curious, how did you name the poem's title for the lobster? He asked. The Mad Mock Turtle and the Gryphon looked at Plex, not even sure what is going on with him. The Gryphon looked at the poem's title. It says, The Lobster Quadrille, it said. The Mad Mock Turtle started sniffling and started sobbing heavily. I'm so sad about the poem, it says. Plex looked at the Mad Mock Turtle's tears and wiped them out of its eyes. He opened his compartment door and pulled out a handkerchief. Then he closed his compartment door. The Mad Mock Turtle grabbed the handkerchief from Plex's hands and started to inhale and blow. Well, said Plex, that is much sadder. The Gryphon nodded its head. You did not know how the lobster got its haircut, it replies. Plex took a twitch. Then he looked at another rock beside him. There he found the Lobster Quadrille poem. In fact, that isn't ridiculous at all, he said. And besides, Gryphon, I could barely see the poem just sitting on another rock. The Lobster Quadrille. The Mad Mock Turtle threw the handkerchief and looked at the poem. Tears began running down its face. Oh yeah, it's probably here, it said as it wiped the tears. Here, let me read it for you. The Gryphon and Plex watched the Mad Mock Turtle read the first stanza. The Mad Mock Turtle inhaled and started reading. One day, a sad lobster was crying, it said. His friends wanted to help out, but they could help. So the next lobster came to him, so he told him. The Gryphon held the Mock Turtle's hand, confused. What is the next part gonna be, Mock? It asked. The Mad Mock Turtle slapped the Gryphon's hand. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for telling me the part, it said. You know, the best part of the story is a sadness one. Plex looked confused and a little sad. That was pretty sad, he said. The Mad Mock Turtle sniffled and wiped the tears out of his eyes. Yes, it said. I really wanted to read more of the poem. And so, the Mad Mock Turtle started reading the second stanza. When the lobster showed up, he said, You will help me? It read. The lobster tried to explain everything he knows, but he can't reclaim to himself. Then the Mad Mock Turtle turned to Plex. The yellow magic robot scratched his head and replies, That was the next part. Ah, Plex groaned. I just want to learn more about the poem. The Gryphon rolled its eyes and looked at him. That's practicing, it said. Anyways, moaned the Mad Mock Turtle, now sobbing. I have to read more of the poem. Then the Mad Mock Turtle started on the last stanza. The lobster tried to speak to himself, it sobbed, but he was so unhappy, so he decided to save the world from other people to the other country. Plex looked at the lobster in the poem. Gee whiz, he said. Who knows that the lobster in his mind and into his eyes was so sparkly all of a sudden? The mad mock turtle hugged Plex. Then it nodded its head and said, That was really sad, okay? Plex said as he scratched his head. Okay. Then, the Gryphon looked at the yellow magic robot and said, Not very important, right, Mock? The mad mock turtle said, Yes, that's the end of a lobster quadrille. Plex was so confused. Oh, I want to learn more about the lobster and how he got his hair cut. He said. The mad mock turtle started sobbing once again. Then it sighed. Well, it said, you have to try something else. Yeah, Plex sighed. I'm curious. I'm just curious about that rabbit. You know, a rabbit. And it went into a rabbit hole, just like my favorite storybook, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. The fact I have a plush of a bunny, and I call it Lumpy for sure. The mad mock turtle turned around, saying, Then what do you think about this? But the Gryphon shook its head and said, Mock, let's just go meet the lobsters. All together, the Gryphon, the mad mock turtle, and Plex walked together to the lobster quadrille. Plex took a peek and saw the lobsters he found in the poem. Oh, that might be the lobsters, he exclaimed. Welcome all to the lobster quadrille, said the lobster. Plex thought that the poem the mock turtle made was wrong. That was much curious. He said, Yeah, I know, but I thought this would really be a great dance, the Gryphon said. Also, I could not mention or know about this lobster quadrille dancey dance. I couldn't know that, said Plex, as he soon got rudely interrupted by a very loud human voice, saying, The trial's beginning! Plex turned to the Gryphon and said, Oh, right, I have to go to the court. The trial's starting. The Gryphon holded Plex's hand. You can come with me, it said. Okay, Plex stated. Soon, the Gryphon and Plex ran away from the beach and into the grass and up into the hills. Bye, Mock, shouted the Gryphon as it said goodbye. The mad mock turtle looked up and sobbed. See ya, Gryphon. Plex and the Gryphon kept running until the bell's noise pulled against them. It is the bell for the trial.